here's the thing. He is 57 years old. He will be 58 when they fight. He has had a long fighting career. He has been knocked out by massive men like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. You know, he's had a lot of blows, and you know, it's long past the time.
It's safe to say the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight has been one of the most controversial fights in the history of boxing. These two fighters have been making many people have different takes on how the fight will actually go down. Joe Rogan is one of these many people we are talking about because Joe Rogan can't stop talking about this fight. Joe is as invested in the anticipated fight as much as Tyson and Jake are, or even their promoters. But y'all should know which side Joe is on. Is it Iron Mike's side or Feisty Jake's? Let's find out.
I think he just called Mike Tyson a gimmick.
Mike Tyson's 58 years old, or will be at the time of the fight, yes.
So
as
will
much
you
as I
fight
respect Mike Tyson
Will you
and
fight
his...
What did you just call me again?
I didn't call you anything.
What did you call me?
I didn't call you anything.
It's been 4 years in this sport, and I've done more to it than any boxer in the history of the sport. So in due time, sir, I will be fighting for a world championship, and I will be shutting you the fuck up and making you eat your own words, just like the rest of these fucking...
It's quite obvious that Tyson and Jake are making the anticipated fight very interesting with their trash talking and subtle shades. But just these two can't do the work. Joe Rogan is on the sidewalks doing the Lord's work by adding more fuel to the fire of the fight. So here's Joe's take. Joe might have been a brilliant sports analyst for years, but best believe this particular fight is creating a confusion in Joe's head. Many people are following the Tyson train, even Joe Rogan himself, but he wouldn't just throw Jake's effort out of the window. Joe openly admitted that Jake isn't doing bad for himself as a boxer who debuted a few years ago. Transitioning from a YouTube star to a fighter is not an easy or common feat among YouTubers, but Jake has been able to pull his weight. Joe even praised Jake, saying that he isn't the type of fighter who doesn't know what he's doing in the ring, as he's good at winging the various tactics used on him. Yeah, Jake has lost a few fights, but there's no doubt he's a good boxer in his own way.
I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fight. He knows how to fight. Like, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not like sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up-and-coming boxer that was this exciting, like highly promotable, like really good at selling fights, he'd be like, this kid's the future. Mm-hmm. He's really...
Okay, Jake is good, but have you seen his opponent? It's not just a regular fighter that Jake is facing. This is the Iron Mike, Mike Tyson. As frequently chanted by folks, Jake has really got some nerves to think he's supposed to agree to that fight. Back in the day, Jake wouldn't dare look at Mike Tyson straight in the eye, not to talk of asking for a fight. That is the problem. Folks on Jake's side believe Mike's accolades are from back in the day, but he has grown way older, so things might be different. Folks, including Jake, consider that Tyson's age will play a big role in the fight. While Jake is still in his prime, as he's a fighter in his really late 20s, Tyson, on the other hand, is in his really late 50s.
I'm just concerned about, Tyson's legacy. That's it.
Yeah, if Jake catches him or something, he is 57.
Yeah, you just don't know. I've never seen a 57-year-old fighter up in the ring, against a strong guy, a strong bull like Jake Paul. So it's,
Is that good or bad for boxing if Jake finds a way to knock him out later on?
I think it'll be. I think it'll be sad for Tyson.
So what is it going to be? Will the fighter in his prime be able to knock out the fighter who is termed too old for the game? Well, time will tell, but before time does its thing, there are some other things folks are considering that would determine the winner of the fight. From some people's perspective, Jake intentionally focuses his career build on fighting boxers who aren't in his weight class or even in his league, just like he's doing with Tyson. But do you guys really think Tyson will be easy peasy for Jake, as others have been? Let's just say no for now. That man has held the world championship title more times than Jake's entire career in the sport. Tyson is believed not to try to move a muscle to defeat Jake. But guess what? Tyson is moving muscles and putting them to work. Joe Rogan recently went on and on praising Tyson about how much of a badass he was back in the day and how the work he's even putting in for the fight can cause some problems for Jake Paul. Joe was amazed after he saw Tyson's workout video. Tyson is definitely not playing around. It's like the world of boxing knows Jake is getting himself into trouble with the fight he's planning to have with Iron Mike.
I don't give a if he's 55. That's still Mike Tyson.
Mike's in good shape too.
Oh my God.
Mike trains every day.
He trains with Rafael Cordero, who's a legend in MMA. He runs King's Mixed Martial Arts. And Rafael is a world-renowned trainer. When you see him holding the mitts for Tyson, and Tyson smashing the mitts, you're like, Jesus, that guy can still you up.
He don't want to fight Mike.
In this world with hormone replacement and vitamins and he does all this electrical muscular stimulation recovery stuff. Like when they were training Mike for that Roy Jones fight, like they were using state-of-the-art science. Like I don't give a think he's 55 years old. That guy will hurt you. If Jake Paul's on the other side of the ring and he sees Mike Tyson just bobbing and weaving, he's going to have a recognition. He's going to look over and go, oh my God, that's really Mike Tyson.
That's right, Joe. Tyson's punching power still seems to be active, and that's a big problem for Jake. Tyson really isn't the type of fighter that would lose his punching ability midway, so things are starting to look tougher than expected. Tyson's routine videos have even proved that he's in better shape than people thought.
Day one, the fun just begun.
Tyson isn't taking any chances. He's out to get Jake, and it doesn't seem like he will stop till he completes his mission. There's another reason folks believe Jake will get injured when he eventually steps into the ring with Tyson. Tyson resumed his raw meat diet, and that, in fact, is a big problem for Jake. Tyson claims to be tapping into animal instincts to have some sort of dominance over his opponent anytime he wants to fight.
What are you eating? Raw meat. Seriously, Mike, you're eating raw meat? Are you swallowing it, or remember you used to spit that stuff out? Yeah, I'm gonna have to eat it now because my opponent's gonna be raw meat. That's right. I have to same.
So what are the odds that Jake Paul would make it through the match when Iron Mike is this prepared? To be fair, it's not like Jake also isn't preparing as rigorously as he can, but then again, Tyson is the opponent in this fight. Things may not go as planned. Jake Paul shouldn't think because he knocked out Mike Perry recently, the same would happen with Tyson when the time comes. Perry is in no way half as brilliant a fighter as Tyson, so it's a different ballgame entirely. This fight keeps garnering more and more attention. The promoters and sponsors must have anticipated this, and it must be one of the reasons they want it to happen. It's a cash spree for everyone involved. Even Joe Rogan recently talked about how the Tyson versus Jake fight will be the biggest fight since the Manny versus Mayweather Jr. fight.
Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao was big, but culturally, you versus Jake Paul, like this young YouTuber takes on one of the greatest heavyweight champions that's ever lived.
I love that. Sounds good. Hey,
Oh
everybody,
my
listen.
God.
Continue,
Are you
please.
listening to this? If he's willing to do it, you know how crazy it is if he's
Listen,
willing
I
to
saw
do it.
Jake Paul. I was in St. Bart's. I don't know who you. Yeah, I was on somebody's boat, and he was there.
What he said to you? Did he say something to you?
It's all love. It's
All love?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a lovely guy.
All right, put a picture of me.
His
and him
brother's
at St.
great
Bart.
too. Logan's a
Can you
really
do
nice
that,
guy.
please?
But my point is, that fight would be gigantic.
Would.
Oh,
Because
man.
first of all, everybody would want to see what.
Let's do it, Jakey.
Oh yeah, that fight was also the talk of the town back in 2015. Mayweather Jr. won after so many debates and roundtable discussions on how the fight would turn out. Floyd Mayweather won with a unanimous decision, with two judges scoring the match with a scorecard of 116, 112, and 118, 110. Mayweather retired as one of the greatest boxers ever to enter the ring. He made the record of 50-0, which made him the boxer who never lost to anyone. Before you get carried away with Floyd's achievement, let's remind you that Tyson may have lost a few times, but the man who never lost, Floyd, sees Tyson as an inspiration and idol in the sport. So, who will tell Jake Paul that he's in for his career's roughest and toughest fight? Tyson has a beast in him when it comes to boxing, and he may have to unleash that when he finally meets Jake in the ring. Jake can brag and say foul words to Tyson as much as he wants, but judging from experience in their matches, Jake is no match for Tyson in the ring. Maybe the age factor will come into play or not. That's just a question of time. But But the hope for Jake's age to do magic isn't as bright as the hope for Tyson's punching power. Boxing professionals have had a lot of opinions. While some people are egging Jake on that he can do the job, some are telling him to be careful because one mistake from him can result in a drastic injury for him. When interviewers caught up with Manny Pacquiao and was asked about his thoughts on the match, he had this to say.
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. That fight just got announced. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. They're going to fight that? Yeah, they're going to fight. Do you think Jake Paul can beat Mike Tyson? I don't think so.
Yeah, right. Even Manny knows it's highly impossible for Jake to take out Iron Mike. But never say never. Another professional in the sport who was interviewed is Evander Holyfield. Evander is one of the fighters that have met with Tyson in the ring, so he knows better than most people. To top it all off, Evander knocked Tyson out back in the day, but he isn't saying he's an easy target because he's definitely not. Evander didn't want to discourage Jake, so he gave him a word of advice.
How do you see like Mike at this age? By the time he fights Jake, I think he'll be 58 if I'm correct. Jake's like 26. How do you think that fight is going to turn out?
Well, you know, I tell you what can happen.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, it's with the confidence the other guy. I don't know how much confidence that Jake Paul have in all this, but you know he's gonna be a lot quicker. And if he stay close to Mike, then
maybe Jake will have to repeatedly play this clip to avoid being too far away from Tyson, so he wouldn't knock him out brutally, as Evander mentioned. However, there's Ryan Garcia, who has a career similar to that of Jake Paul. Ryan and Jake transitioned from YouTubers to fighters, so maybe his take can also be taken seriously, as he would understand Jake's feelings about the fight much better than anyone.
I like Jake.
You think he's doing a good job?
Yes.
What do you think about the Tyson fight that he just announced?
That's awesome. Yeah, dude. Try to fight Tyson. If he knocks you out, but at least you fought Tyson. That's cool.
At this point, I think Tyson's 58, right?
Well, that's not okay. You know, he's like 60 years old.
How much of his power do you think he lost? You think it's still Mike Tyson?
I think like that's the last.
Ryan himself hasn't been in the best place since a few months back. Ryan got himself into trouble after he tested positive for a banned substance. Ryan's situation turned out pretty ugly, as he got banned from fighting for a year and even lost his win against Devin Haney. Ryan, who had been on top of the world after supposedly winning the match, had to turn back the win to Devin. Well, Ryan believes the board was just out to get him in a bad light, but who knows? Anyway, the fight between Tyson and Jake is fast approaching, and the argument will soon be put to rest. Some people believe Tyson really wasn't supposed to accept that type of fight. The belief stems from folks not wanting Tyson to lose his achievements because of a fight that is not needed. Others believe it's a good cash grab, as millions of dollars will be made from the match. Jake is up for making money, and so is Tyson too. It has already been established that Jake loves to fight boxers not in his range anyway whatsoever, probably to secure an easy win. But Tyson doesn't seem like he will grant Jake that easy win. With the match being postponed to November 15th, the circulated news read that this was done due to Tyson's ulcer flare-up. The doctors want him to recover fully to avoid any terrible internal injury. However, word on the street is that Jake Paul is behind the postponement, as he's stalling because he's having cold feet for the match. Oh well, Jake Paul wouldn't be that loud about fighting Tyson and be getting scared now that it's almost time for action. Those two need to get in the ring and let the world see what they have been anticipating for a while now. Whether Jake Paul will be one of the fighters to knock Tyson out, or Tyson will add to his 50-win scorecard of beating other fighters, we will just have to wait and see how it plays out in the ring. So do you think Jake Paul can pull a fast one on Tyson and win the most anticipated fight? Or do you feel there's no way Jake would be able to knock Iron Mike out? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel or turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on boxing news updates.